Hello, good morning, everyone. So today is Friday, and Friday is a talk show day. So today we will start a new series, and that series has actually three sessions. And we're talking about cloud. We can call this series the 3D experience on public cloud. So we will revisit some of the fundamental of the cloud. And for those who attend the talk show for the first time, we use a kind of like a podcast. You want to podcast show, so like a TV show or radio show. So we will not use a lot of PowerPoint like a normal webinar or training. So today we have a few speakers. So we will share what we know about the 3D experience on the cloud with some question and some answer. If you have any question, keep it at the end, and we'll give you time for your question so we can reply to your question, right? So today I have with me Alex Koch. Alex is one of the 3D experience champion from Australia. I have Bintech. Bintech is one of the 3D experience champion from Singapore. Wayne also, but today Wayne, he worked from home. And I have with me myself, but I have Ba-Thong myself, and I have with me Adeline and also Charlene with me in the same room. Okay, so let me. Okay, you see my screen. All right. So today we're talking a little bit. We will not talk. We're gonna share this in three different sessions. So the 7 key value of 3D experience is fast delivery, easy to install and deploy, available 24/7 everywhere. We have this enterprise integration. Another key value of the 3D experience is the limited IT management. It's easy to scale from 1 user to 100 users. And with this, it can reduce the total cost of ownership and make the cost more predictable. Right. Okay. So first, for the session 1, we have a few questions. Probably, Bintech, you want to start first with the question?
Yeah, this Bentek, I can see on the slide there is one actually very interesting. It shows that fast delivery. So I would like to know how fast can we deploy a tenant to a new customer?
Well, sorry, yeah, just checking that I wasn't mute. Typically, we have before anything is deployed. I guess I can take this question. Before anything is deployed, there will be this the closer, which is the license agreement for a lot of us will use the term. The closer, once the closer has been signed and approved, deployment can happen within hours. So yeah, essentially within hours of approval.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
That's very clear.
Yep, typically within hours. Any other questions that we need to go through?
No more question for me. Thank you.
Okay.
That in this case, right, is it the same? Because for our community, right, we know that we do have commercial customer as well as school and university. So if are they having the same responding time, okay, when they actually deploy engage with using our 3D experience platform? So is it the same for both commercial and also the educational business? Is there a difference between the installation and the deployment?
Intek, you want to answer that
Yeah,
question?
yeah. This one I can answer. Now there are actually two type of customer. One is commercial, like user like Toyota, Honda, those big boy. It can be also a small company buy just only 1 or 2 licenses for commercial usage. Now the other type of customer is actually institution, right? That's why we classify them as 2 different customer, but the process and also the tenant, they are the same, right?
Oh, okay. So, Bintek, if it is the same kind of tenant, does it mean that they have they can access to the same type of roles? They have the same 3D experience portfolio kind of things? Is it the same thing that you can see on commercial and education, for example?
Okay, the answer is yes and no. Yes is actually the role. The role contain a lot of different apps, right? The app is the same, but we're talking about tribal. We know there is a license. So commercial license and the institution license, they are slightly different. Okay, so there's a term we call it same but different,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Hope I answer
Yeah.
it.
So you mean that the packaging of it is different. So but eventually the tools that use is the same. Okay, but the packaging for commercial and the packaging for university is for institution is different from the commercial. Am I interpret right?
Right. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
What about the infrastructure? You know, when we talk about the cloud, essentially all data goes onto the cloud and all that. What about the infrastructure? Are customers, whether commercial or educational, are they using the same infrastructure as well, or do they separate the infrastructure according to different clients and all that?
Yeah.
This is
I
a
think
common question.
this one, I think I can answer that. Okay,
Okay.
because basically we are talking about a public cloud scenario right now. Okay, which means everyone is using the same infrastructures. Okay, because when we talk about the public cloud, the one key thing about it is to save the cost. Okay, everyone sharing, okay, the same infrastructure. So if you heard the term IaaS, okay, infrastructure as a service, okay, this is what the key differentiator for our public cloud. Okay, so basically all these customer, okay, all the customer that we have, okay, be it commercial, educational, or even in commercial, all the different customer, right? They are using the same type of server, same IT infrastructure, the same data center, okay, and they have the same kind of security. But okay, there's a difference. Okay, right now we are talking about the hardware. Okay, the data center, the servers. Okay, they are sharing the same resources, but the data that you store within it. Okay, we actually segregate into different tenant. Okay, for every single customer. Okay, so that's why the data that you store within the platform, okay, is not shared among different customers. So if today you register as company A, okay, using our platform, you can only see your own data. The other customer cannot see it, okay, even though they are actually within the same infrastructure.
All right. So technically, even if I have access to 2 different tenants, they can cross over, just to be sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can.
thanks. Then you mentioned about, sorry.
Sorry. I just want to add another things. So far today in AP South, we do have 2 main data center.
Yep.
There's a commercial cluster in Singapore and in Sydney, and for many years we have education cluster in Singapore.
Yeah.
And recently this month actually we just opened a academia cluster in Sydney as well.
Yeah. Good. That's good to know. I think our new EDU guy will be happy. But what about this? Right now the cloud hosting services and all that. What we get this asked by customers quite often. Actually, I just got asked yesterday as well. the provider of this cloud service. You've got different cloud providers. I mean, of course, AWS is the most common in this part of the world, but they are different. And I do know of companies who work with different cloud providers for other services that they have. Are our customers able to choose which provider they you know, the 3D experience they work with their 3D experience platform data?
Okay, I take that question, Alex. Just for the general knowledge, Dassault System use typically two cloud provider. We use Outscale and we use AWS. Outscale is mainly used in North America and in Europe. In Asia in general, we use AWS. Recently, we have Outscale in Japan, but for AP South is mainly AWS. So when it comes to public cloud, no, the customer cannot decide which cloud provider they want to. We only have one, which is AWS. Now, for general knowledge, we have three types of cloud. Okay, public cloud, which is where we try to promote first, and then we do have private cloud, and then we have dedicated cloud. So private cloud is when the customer want to have a particular way to log into the cloud, even though the cloud is still public, right? It's hosted by AWS, but private cloud means there's only one tenant per server, where public cloud, you have multiple tenants in one same infrastructure server kind of things. And dedicated cloud is more like the customer will want the 3D experience on a particular provider. That is for the dedicated cloud. But the ticket is the entry ticket is very expensive for private cloud and dedicated cloud. And the deployment can be much longer with private cloud and dedicated cloud. It can go from 6 months, 9 months to 1 year to deploy the entire 3D experience solution. So for us, AP South, I don't think that we have this kind of customer who want the private cloud or dedicated cloud. So we still mainly on public cloud, which is AWS.
Right.
Now, I have this question. I have those people ask me if anyone know, if we go, because the only option is AWS, does it mean that the customer need to have an IT personnel that certify AWS?
Yeah, I think for private cloud, right, the answer is no. You don't need an IT guy. That's the purpose of a public cloud. But for private cloud, yes, you need to have an IT person to look after.
I think on the private cloud, I understand that we need the IT because we need to implement the login procedure and everything. So that's probably why we need that one, right? Okay.
Yeah, seeing that we manage everything's managed on our end on the public cloud, I guess there's no need for any certification, is there? I guess that's the bottom line, right?
Yeah, that's right. The certification, there's the bottom line.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. How about the deployment and also the implementation?
For public cloud?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take that one. For public cloud, essentially, there's the end user, the client, doesn't need to be concerned about deployment. Okay, and there's essentially no implementation to worry about because essentially everything is taken care of it by DS. Okay, what they need to, however, is to look at how they configure the platform to suit their requirements. And what do we mean by configuration? That's the important part we need to understand. Implementation is basically setting up like servers, setting up the infrastructure and all that. All that is handled by us. However, the customer will need to be concerned about how they want to configure the platform settings. Typical case, say user roles, define the workflow, how they want the approvals, their approval process to be, maybe the enterprise numbering system. and their templates, for example, if they're using Lean Team Player templates and so on. Now, these things the user will still need to get involved with, of course, because this will be the details on the working level, but they don't need to worry about implementation, and there's no deployment to be worried about. All right. I think we also have a question in line with deployments and all that. All right. Someone also here has asked, may I ask if tenants can combine, if tenants can be combined? Okay, this is a question from the audience. Can tenants be combined? For example, if company A and company A2 are sister companies. Anyone know the answer to that?
I can try to answer this one.
Okay.
There's something where use and where access, something like that. Based on the definition of a company, if a company have a different company ID in our DS client care system, they are considered legally they are different companies, so you cannot combine. Recently, we have this case that in Australia, there's one customer, very similar, they want to combine all their license into one. So DS answer to them is no, because legally they are different company, even though they are sister company.
So basically boils down to the ID.
Right, that's right.
Okay. Okay, so
we have another question. This is a potential customer that require access a service where can make daily file backup to a third party. Okay, this is something normally we will talk about the next session. No, from the backup, it's not possible to have a backup from another party. One of the reason is because the security. We don't allow anyone to go to the IT infrastructure of AWS to do a backup or to do anything, because it's, you know, security. We have to secure it. Only a few people has access to the IT infrastructure. But even just for your information, in order to access to the IT infrastructure on the cloud for security and with all the certification that we got, actually you don't access directly to the infrastructure. We access to another server, and from that server, it will send the commands to the whole IT structure. So using a third party, no, is impossible, because we wouldn't allow anyone to go into that kind of things. Yeah, the answer is no. However, in terms of backup, by the agreement that we have with the customer, we call the SLA, we do have one backup per day. In the real life, of course, we commit, that is what we commit to the customer. But in the real life, to be more secure, actually we back up more than 3 times, sometimes up to 4 times per day. That's what our backup system behind that run. So we back up 3 to 4 times per day, but our commitment to the customer is minimum 1 a day. And this is something that we will talk more. We go a little bit more in detail on the next session.
The next question, Ba-Thong, I can take that if you like. There's this question: can the customer turn off a tenant and back up all the data? And I think it means move to another tenant. The short answer is there is a process that can handle this. Okay, but the customer cannot turn off the tenant by themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a way to move your data. If you need to move transfer to a different tenant, there is a process involved that can be executed.
Right. Yes, Alex. We will talk about that particular subject on the session.
The next session here.
On the session 3 is when we're talking about we explain to you how to decommission a tenant. When the customer decide, okay, I'm not using 3DEXPERIENCE anymore, how can I get my data? even before it expires or after it's expired. We explain a little bit of this. We will talk about this on the session 3.
Yep, I think the following 3 questions are also similar to what we'll be talking about in session 3, essentially about data backups, downloads, and end of life discussions.
Well, there's another question. Can customer request to download the backup? Yes, that's one of the procedures. He can download all the data that he got on the tenant. For the backup, normally is the, just in case, something wrong, the customer can say, hey, can we roll back to the backup that we have on the last 24 hours, for example? This is something it's possible through a service request.
Okay, there's another follow-up question regarding the consolidation, if a merger or being buy over by another company. So to answer this question, to be accurate, we have to look at the legal term again, right? If a company being bought over by another company and merged into one, and they are actually sharing a same legal entity, then it will be possible. But if it's being bought over, but still, make it a different entity, that means they have their own activity by their own, then this is not possible. They are still considered as 2 different entities. So you cannot combine all their license together. So the key word is the legal entity. Is it 1 or still 2?
Okay. There's a question from Joseph. Is about the backup things. Once again, we will talk more about in the session 3. There's another question is when AWS backup, or we do the backup, actually we do the backup on the Sydney tenant, does the data sit outside of Sydney or inside or different location? So by right, actually, in any, if you work in the IT organization, you know that every IT organization, we recommend to do 3 backup. So 1 backup on site and 1 backup outside of the data center. So it's always like this. So AWS has the obligation to us and our customer that they have to keep the tenant running 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay, that means that they certainly have the backup somewhere in Australia, but they may have another backup outside Australia. That one we don't know, and we have no control on this. Because the only obligation that we have with the cloud provider is give us the tenant, the server that run 24 hours. How they do this, it's up to them. Okay, how they guarantee that they have the infrastructure to do this. Now the data may be saved outside of Australia. Can be, it's possible. But I would say that most likely will be in another backup data center that they have somewhere in Australia. But when the customer really worry about data sovereignty, they want the data to really stay in Australia, the best would be go with the private cloud.
Dedicated.
Okay, any other question? Okay, so if we don't have any more questions before the end of the session, I know that the COE, you guys are very familiar with the talk show on every Friday, but those from the CPE, if you want to have something similar, talk show every Friday when we can talk anything about 3DEXPERIENCE, you let us know, you let me know, and Jaylene know, and we'll try to do something similar on a particular day of the week when we can talk anything about 3DEXPERIENCE, not only technical points, but company sales or marketing or anything. Do let us know, and we will make it happen. So before we leave, I will see you next week. But especially now for CRE, Charlene has a special message for the partners who is in the CRE. Charlene will publish on a partner platform. So we almost reached our half an hour. So thank you very much for joining us today. I will make that recording available on the partner platform as well, so you can come back and watch it again. And in the meantime, have a good weekend. And I will see you next week on Friday. Bye. Check the link for registration on the partner platform. It will be there. See ya. Bye. Have a good weekend.
See you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.